You're looking at mold. Normally, you'd throw this away without hesitation because your brain doesn't see mold as food, it sees it as a warning. Mold looks like decay. It suggests illness and risk. To the human mind, it means one thing: stop here. But at some point in human history, someone suppressed that reflex. Instead of running, they stopped. They chose to look. Because when they saw mold, they realized, if I throw this away, I'll have nothing left. This isn't a story of bravery. No one ate mold to prove a point. This is a story of necessity. Hunger forces humans to try things they would normally never consider. The real question wasn't flavor. No one was asking, does this taste good? The question was harsher and simpler. If we don't eat this, will we survive tomorrow? In this video, we'll see how moldy cheese isn't a gourmet choice, but a deliberate survival move against spoilage. Mold didn't hide a mistake. Mold turned a mistake into food. Milk is extremely valuable to humans. It provides energy, nourishment, and is essential for societies built around animal farming. But it's also incredibly fragile. Without the right conditions, it begins to spoil within hours and quickly becomes risky. For most of history, there was no refrigerator. People didn't know when milk would spoil. They only noticed after it already had. Milk collected in the morning could become dangerous by evening. In hot regions, this process happened even faster. That's why milk was comforting when it existed, but panic-inducing when it disappeared. The idea of cheese was born from that panic. People transformed milk not because they loved it, but because they feared losing it. Human instinct is clear. Don't touch spoiled food. If you see mold, walk away. If you smell rot, let it go. This reflex kept humans alive for thousands of years. Because most of the time, spoiled food meant sickness. One wrong bite could mean days of poisoning or worse. But at some point, someone suppressed that instinct. They looked at curdled milk and didn't dump it immediately. They paused. They thought. Because at that moment, the options were limited. Either throw it away or go hungry. Then came small steps. They strained the curds, pressed them with cloth, let them dry a bit, added salt. None of this was scientific. No one fully understood what they were doing. They were just trying things, hoping it might last longer. Then they placed the curds somewhere cool, a cave, a cellar, underground. And they waited. For days, sometimes weeks. They had no idea what would come out. They were simply watching what time would do. This wasn't a recipe. It wasn't a culinary tradition. It was an experiment driven by hunger. With every bite, there was only one thought. Maybe this time, I won't die. Sometimes it worked. People ate and didn't get sick. Sometimes the cost was high. But they didn't stop trying, because they had no better option. Over time, something became clear. This method wasn't always safe, but surprisingly, it worked again and again. The same pattern kept appearing. Aged curds lasted longer than fresh milk, because cheese changed the nature of milk. Milk was no longer milk in its original form. The environment became less comfortable, less welcoming for microbes. Acidity increased. Salt was added. Moisture slowly disappeared. And these changes slowed down spoilage. When these three came together, milk transformed from something measured in hours into something measured in days or even months. Cheese didn't eliminate spoilage. It didn't stop it completely, but it brought it under control. And that was enough to survive. Then humans took one more step. They saw mold, but this time they didn't panic. For the first time, they stopped and watched. What would normally be thrown away was now carefully observed. How does the mold spread? Where does it stop? What does it do? They noticed that some molds could completely dominate the cheese. They took over the environment and left little room for others. These molds suppressed rivals, transformed the cheese, and over time created strong aromas. But it was still dangerous. The wrong mold, the wrong environment, the wrong timing, everything could turn into waste instantly. In blue cheeses, the risk lived inside the cheese. In cheeses like brie, it lived on the surface. The form of control changed. Moldy cheese isn't the absence of fear. It's fear under discipline. Over time, these methods were repeated, refined, and standardized. Mold was no longer random, it became a managed tool. Caves, cellars, and dedicated aging rooms emerged. Humans began controlling the process more carefully. What began as a risky survival method slowly turned into a symbol of prestige. When we eat moldy cheese today, we're tasting the fear and desperation of the past. We buy the panic of a pre-refrigeration world and label it as luxury. We don't eat it because we love mold. We eat it because we learned how to survive with it. Some foods were never meant to exist. Hunger made them possible.